What's happening, people? We're back here once again on CubCamTV. Really excited to be back inside the building once again. We're doing something a little bit different here on CubCamTV chats. Really excited to get into today's conversation. Man like Rapcha The Sayantist joins us. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, my friend.
Good to hear from you, man. It's good to hear from you. It's good to get you on the line. Obviously, we've been talking a fair bit back and forth over Twitter and getting those sort of international conversations going, which has been really enjoyable. And obviously, with this channel, what we love to do is really explore different areas of international music and international sound. So, for the people, obviously looking in and watching the video back afterwards, of course, talk to me a little bit about what you do as a radio presenter.
As a radio presenter, basically what I do is my show is a reggae show. It's called Drop Zone County Assembly. I'm a radio presenter at Hot 96. Is Royal Media Services in Kenya. So what I do basically, I just select a lot of reggae music. My show, I deal with reggae music, from the roots reggae music, because we have other shows that deal with hit songs like Taras and stuff like that. But my show, I deal with classical reggae music, so you'll find a lot of 70s, late 70s, mid 70s, because the society, our Kenyan society, we are very familiar with that sound of late 70s and early 80s and late 90s reggae music.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, man. I think it's obviously really interesting to hear how obviously different sorts of styles of music do move across different sorts of areas and countries, and obviously cross international borders. We obviously know that sound is the best way of communicating across different areas of the world, and it's really interesting to kind of hear your sort of take on your show and how it kind of comes together. Like, has this always been something that you've wanted to do? Like, has this always been the main thing in your life?
My story with radio is very funny because I just ended up on the radio one day. There was something called post-election violence in our country, Kenya. People were fighting, so people were not working at that time. It was the year 2007, 13 years ago. So my friend works at the radio. He's called Robo. And there's a girl. She's dead now. She used to be called Angel. And a few journalists, international journalists, had come from Holland. So they just took me, to say, let's go to the radio. And that's how I ended up on the radio. From there, the rest is history.
So it's a very so it's not even like a kind of music related story as to how you ended up in the sort of broadcasting world.
No, it's not music related. As in, we just went there and I got stuck there because there was fighting in the country. So I got stuck there for 3 days, and those 3 days we were talking, and most of the things we were talking got recorded, and then they were played on the radio, and then they said that those things sound very good on the radio. I should think of doing something on the radio, and that's how I started doing something on the radio. But I did not start with doing reggae. I was doing a morning show.
That's genuinely an amazing sort of background, and then obviously to kind of go from that to being in the sort of quite renowned position you're now in, where you are one of the people I would presume people go to hear reggae music and understand it and kind of and get a bit of an inside kind of look at things. Like when did that sort of switch over start to take place then in regards to reggae being the real kind of forefront of your show?
I went now to another radio station. I got employed now to a commercial radio station, because the radio station that I was at that time with my friend was a regional, like a community radio station. And so I got picked up by now a national radio station, which is Hot 96. And they told me they wanted me to do a reggae show because of the background of the stories, and the music. That's how I ended up doing a reggae show. It was in the year 2012, 8 years ago.
Amazing, man! Like the whole sort of setup of it is just a crazy story to kind of hear, because obviously when we have these conversations, obviously we hear different people coming at things from kind of different backgrounds and different roots, and this is possibly the most sort of unique story I've actually kind of heard. And obviously I speak to people every day about their sort of backgrounds, and it's genuinely super interesting. So obviously going then from starting up that in being in that sort of reggae position, in regards to the sound, like how quickly did you end up like super falling in love with it?
I always loved reggae music because reggae music is the most popular music in Kenya. And I was not born in like the country. I was born in the city. I was born in the capital city of Kenya, in Nairobi city. So the music that was playing in the clubs, even before I joined radio, even before I went to high school was always reggae music. It was always around. So when they told me to do reggae music, it was very easy to blend in because most of the songs, I already had the songs on the radio and in the clubs. So it was easy to play them on the radio.
Awesome, man. I mean, there's so many things I want to ask and kind of dive into it. Like, so when like, just as a sort of overarching thing, so I can kind of understand it, because reggae takes a lot of different forms as a sort of overarching genre, and obviously it is realistically the most influential genre to affect other genres worldwide. Realistically, you look at so much dance music that's come off it. You look at so much, obviously bashment, dancehall. There's obviously a big sort of combination in how a lot of the sort of Afrobeat sound worldwide has kind of been worked in with a lot of that sort of more reggae style as well. So when you kind of look at that, like what was the kind of area that you naturally kind of gravitate to? Because obviously reggae's got such a vast history. Like, what sort of sound within reggae is your sort of cup of tea?
My sound is roots reggae music, the early roots and the late roots. That's my sound. That's the sound of the Kenyan people, because most of the requests that were coming into the show were just playing around the roots area. So I decided to go with the flow of my fans, because most of the fans were requesting the songs. So I started going deeper into the roots segment of the era of roots reggae music, and that's how I ended up having a sound of pure roots on my show, and then now the Kenyan reggae music.
Amazing. Okay, so kind of moving forward then with what you do, like it just to kind of get a kind of grasp of it, because I know you're someone that's really, really keen on kind of working internationally, and that's actually how we ended up linking up, obviously, kind of looking through a lot of different sort of things of how we can kind of continue to expand sort of sounds of the world and get them into more and more places. Like, what's the sort of long-term kind of goal for you with what you're doing music-wise? Like, what do you really want to kind of achieve?
What I want to achieve is to make sure that most of the artists that are from Kenya, at least they get somewhere when it comes to reggae, because reggae is an international brand. It's an international genre of music. Anywhere people hear a reggae beat, they understand the vibe. They understand the vibe that will come is either Rasta vibe or a vibe about oppression or things like that. Because roots reggae music is strictly just, vibe of Rastafari, or the other vibe of, oppression and stuff like that, tribulations. So most of these Kenyan musicians, they are not exposed to outside the country. Some of them even outside the city, outside Nairobi city, they are virtually unknown. So just trying to get the music out.
There we go. I mean, obviously with that then, there must be a thing of obviously looking around, kind of scouting, finding new sounds. Like, what's your favourite way to find new music? Because obviously being that kind of, I don't want to necessarily say voice of reggae, but being one of those platforms that people know to go to, how do you continue to find new stuff without it kind of moving away from that classic sort of root sound? Because obviously that's a sound from a time period, isn't it?
Yeah. What I do, there's this something called Neo Roots with the Chronics and the rest of the artists. Most of the sound that's coming out of Jamaica right now is falling into the Roots category, because it's Chronics and Samurai. Those guys are doing something called Neo Roots, and Jana, and they have taken the sound of the Roots and now adding some new flavor, and it's very, very similar to what I play on the radio. So I get to play a lot of their songs too, and I follow them online. I see their friends, I see their producers, and I follow their producers. That's how I get to find new music.
Amazing, man. I mean, this is where it becomes really fun for me, because there's nothing I love more than kind of working internationally, and obviously with this channel in particular, it's so focused on essentially music from across Africa more than anything else. There's a fair focus kind of on Jamaican music, of course. That's kind of what I grew up listening to, and that's very much my kind of musical background. It was literally what was on the speakers when I was running around as a toddler, essentially in my dad's house. So that's very much like that sort of sound has always been something that's very, very intrinsic to what I kind of do. So kind of with Kenyan music at the moment then, like who are the Kenyan artists that people need to be watching out for?
The Kenyan, we have hip hop. Hip hop has really blown up in Kenya. We have artists like Calligraph, Octopizzo. Calligraph was nominated. I think there was an award in America. I think it's E something. an award. He was nominated, but he didn't win it. But just getting a nomination, getting your music recognized in a place like America where there are millions of artists, that's an achievement for
Of course, man.
Kenyan.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
For Kenyan reggae act. Yeah, for Kenyan hip hop act. But the rest of the reggae musicians, we have a few. We have Kathy Matete. I like her music. Has that international, feel. You can feel that if it gets exposure, then she can go somewhere with it. A few like Lavosti, Binti Africa. We have a few very professional, reggae musicians in Kenya. But since they're just starting out, also they have not been in the business for many, many years. So can say that the journey is going on well.
There we go. Yeah, I think that's quite an exciting thing to hear then, because obviously if this is almost like, to an extent, almost like we're still near the beginning of kind of that sort of reggae journey in Kenya, and seeing it really, not necessarily the beginning of it in regards to hearing it, but the beginning of it in regards to creating it, and it actually actually having the artists there to do it. Like, that must be quite exciting for yourself, obviously being the massive reggae fan that you are.
Yeah, it's very exciting for me because at least we can get you can get the voice out there, because what they're trying to say is basically the reason I'm very, very interested in Kenyan reggae musicians playing on the same level with Jamaican reggae musicians is because of this thing in reggae called half of the story. A lot of what is the content in reggae music is about Africa. If you have listened to a lot of content in reggae music is about Africa. And there's a lot of things about Africa that most of these artists, maybe they might not know very well about Africa. So it's very important for the Kenyan reggae or the African reggae musician to also add their voice there, so that we can have, the stories, what they say in Rasta, half of the story now being told.
Definitely. I mean, it's honestly so interesting, both from kind of like a musical perspective and from a cultural perspective. Obviously, for me, I've lived in England my entire life, so the majority of that sort of classic sort of reggae sound, despite the sort of context and the sort of subject matter of a lot of the tunes that I remember growing up listening to, it was always Jamaican artists singing about Africa. So to kind of see that almost not flipped on its head, but to see obviously African artists singing Jamaican influence sounds about Africa itself, like it's such an interesting sort of scenario to hear.
It's very, very interesting, very, very interesting. And there's a lot of, historical facts in reggae music that you might have heard, in classic reggae songs over the times that are from the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And a lot of Africans, they were there during this time, or their parents were there, grandparents were there. So they have like true stories, they can tell in these songs. When you hear, they mention like Jomo Kenyatta or another leader from Africa, we have musicians who have grandparents who know the stories from the horse's mouth. So when they get to put it in songs, then it can be even more powerful, because the Jamaicans now, they can add the dots and see what they were saying and what the African is trying to say.
Awesome. I mean, it's genuinely so pleasing to kind of hear, because obviously with what I do radio-wise and what I love to kind of focus in on, especially on this channel, is basically, as I've said before, trying to showcase as much as we kind of can. And it's not as if it needs my help, that's definitely not the scenario. Like, it's doing just fine without CubCamTV. But like, to be in a position where I can kind of sit down and kind of listen to it live and talk about it and kind of get those sort of reactions in, and obviously talk about it on the radio, like it's such an exciting kind of thing to do that internationally. But obviously with yourself, you're not just someone who wants to kind of focus entirely on sort of Kenyan artists and what's happening in Kenya. You do have a very sort of international approach, like worldwide right about now. Who are the people that you're sort of looking out for?
Right now I'm looking at Nigeria a lot. Burna Boy is doing a lot of things, He's blown worldwide. He has this new album. I was listening to it. It's a great album. We have this Nigerian artists who have like become world superstars all of a sudden. We have artists from Ghana, South Africa. We have artists from South Africa. Obviously, Tanzania, there's an artist called Diamond. He's also like really trying to break it international. This artist, I'm looking at this artist too, because they might not be doing reggae, but they're doing, popular music. And my fans, they listen to popular music too. So it's very important to get these artists together. When they get into the international, because I was an artist too. I used to be a rapper, very very long time ago, back in the day. So when when they get into the international stage, they need to act like they are in the international stage.
Of course,
They
of course.
forget about the local. Yeah.
I mean,
The
something you've
local.
mentioned a fair bit as we've kind of gone through this is that idea of artists kind of stepping up to being on an international level. Now, an interesting thing about that is in the UK kind of currently, there's obviously an interest in it, but it's very much a case of like there doesn't seem to be much almost need to kind of have that international kind of appeal all the time. There's a lot of kind of underground artists where be it kind of rap, be it Afrobeat, be it kind of grime, be it anything. There's very much a kind of overall feeling in the UK at the minute that in regards to the sound, if you can pop in the UK, that's enough for a lot of people. Why do you think it's kind of seen, from my understanding anyway, why do you think it's kind of seen where that international success is more important for African artists?
I think it's more important because when it comes to music, you find that most of the time it happens a lot, even when it comes to reggae music. I look at Jamaican artists. You can find an artist like Chronix is very, very big in a country like Kenya, and they can go to Tanzania and they have no fans there. So when you have that international, appeal, you can be able to know where you can do your live shows because people feel your music. You find even in most times, like even in the UK, an artist can be big in America or in the Caribbean, but is not really big in the UK. And they figure out that the music that they make attracts the people from the Caribbean or from America or from Africa. It happens a lot. That's why I think it's important for African artists to have that international, appeal or get to that international level so that they can know where they can perform. Maybe their fans are in the UK or France or Italy, or maybe their fans are in Nigeria. You can be Kenyan and your fans are in Zaire or DRC Congo, and you never knew that until you get to the international level.
Of course. I mean, this is why it's so interesting because, again, when you look at what's kind of happening in the UK at the moment, there is so much international influence. Like there is so, especially on a vocal side of things, in regards to instrumental and dance music and stuff, that's got a whole different sort of realm of history going on with it. I mean, there's a ton of French influence going on in the sort of dance music side of things at the moment. But when you look at kind of rap and Afrobeat and reggae and things like that, and you look at the kind of UK sound, so much of it is literally influenced directly by what's happening very specifically in Jamaica and Nigeria. They seem to be the two places that kind of really do affect the UK sort of sound more than anywhere else. Like, is that a sort of thing that's kind of recognised in Africa about how kind of influenced by Africa musically the UK's become?
Yeah. We have a lot of, Afrobeat. Nigerian music has a lot of influence in, Kenyan music has a lot of influence. In fact, Kenyan music, we just influenced by outside musicians. You find that it's very difficult to find that Kenyan sound. People go with Afrobeat, that Nigerian vibe. We have another vibe from Tanzania. It's called Bongo Flavor. And a few artists are doing it here in Kenya. We have now the Jamaican reggae and dancehall. That's just the flow that Kenyan people. So we just like the UK. We get that influence, we localize it because we do it in our language, it's Swahili, and then people just flow with it.
Yeah, I mean that sounds exactly like what happens in the UK.
Yeah.
You kind of get these influences, you get these kind of international flavors that are kind of recognized internationally, but you kind of go, you know what, we can tweak little bits there, and we can put that sort of spin on it, that sort of thing with that bit of influence, and go like that, and then it becomes its own entire thing. Like it's such an exciting thing, and I'm assuming you feel the same way from a radio DJ's perspective to kind of see these sort of things like forming up and going, wow, this is happening here, like now, like you can probably tell from how excited I am talking about it. I get so excited listening about that sort of thing. Like, what's the thing that kind of excites you most about what you do in regards to kind of in general, be it finding music, be it playing, doing the shows live? What's the thing that kind of is that sort of main clinching thing for you?
The thing that gets me going, the thing that I like most about what I do is getting to share the music with my fan, that feeling of knowing that this song I'm going to play next, I'm going to listen to this song with like 1 million people, we are going to listen together. So if this song is going to make me feel good or happy, then I know that like 1,000 people are feeling the way I'm feeling, we are feeling happy together. The essence of music, why music has been written to influence our feelings and thoughts, that just sharing the music with people and getting to know in my mind that I'm playing this song next, and we have like 2,000 people who are going to feel the same way that I'm going to feel. That's very powerful to me and my driving force.
I mean, it's such a human thing, isn't it? That idea of listening together and taking things in together and experience things at the same time. It's such a human thing. Obviously, that kind of synergy that you can get from that, and obviously with the sort of global situation we currently find ourselves in, how has that been over in Kenya? Because I'm not too up to date with how things have been in regards to sort of live music and things like that internationally. Obviously, I've been so focused on working on so much stuff in the UK and trying to find out as much as I can about what's going on here. How's that affected kind of things on a more international stage?
In Kenya, it's just like the UK, lockdowns. Right now we have a curfew going on. It's a night. We have had this curfew for the longest time, from the time coronavirus came through, entertainment was just like shut down. So we just have these things, live music, and DJs are going live on Facebook, mostly on Facebook, live on Instagram. People are just doing now entertainment online. So it has gone to, if you cannot afford to have internet, in Africa, internet is a bit expensive for the guys who don't have money. So entertainment now is basically for someone who can afford it.
Wow, I mean that must be, from a sort of artist perspective, that must definitely kind of get in the way of obviously trying to reach fans and reach people. Like, are there any kind of artists that you've noticed kind of doing things a little bit differently and trying to do things in a bit of a different way despite all the sort of lockdown scenarios?
Yeah, we have a few artists who have tried to do like daytime shows because we can't party at night. They're trying to do like daytime shows, but it's not like, it has not been very, very good. We also had a show, Isitu Raha. It was a daytime show, but because of the economic situation, people have not been, going to work for a few months. So people don't have money to get the tickets. So it has been very poorly attended, but we're hoping that, things are going to get back to normal in 2021.
Of course, man, of course. I mean, we are obviously... I mean, when we kind of look around things and look at that sort of live music situation, it's obviously something I've spent a lot of time looking into. There is a documentary on this channel about sort of socially distanced dances and how that's been kind of occurring in the UK. For anyone locking in, do go and check that out. It's on the page. Just the whole kind of I feel more than anything else like we do live in a very international world these days. We do live in a world where we can connect with someone from a different continent in seconds, as we're doing right now. It's amazing. It's mind-blowing to me that this is like such a normalized thing now, and honestly, without meaning to swear, it's fucking amazing. I can't lie. It makes me so happy to be able to kind of do it. And obviously with that must mean for yourself, in regards to finding new music, it must make things a lot more, not the process smoother, but it must make it kind of like, bang, I can get so much more kind of on the way.
Yeah. It's very interesting to me because mostly we were just doing radio. We didn't know that we can connect with people outside our frequencies. We just thought that we're just doing radio. When you have a frequency, you're told that this frequency gets to this area code and this area code, and that's it. So we were just doing traditional radio. But when this coronavirus and COVID situation came and we started doing live, personally, I found that my live was being viewed by people in UK, in America, most people in, the Arab world. We have a lot of Kenyans in Qatar. A lot of Kenyans view my show, from Bahrain. They can get to see me in the studio and get that feeling, feeling of home. So at the moment we started doing that, we realized that we can connect with even people who are not from our country and doing the same thing. That's why we're making this amazing connection, with Trickstar Radio and Hot 96.
Yeah,
it's
entirely,
amazing,
man.
you know?
It's amazing, honestly. It does. Like even before we started this up, like this morning, I woke up and went, you know, I'm doing something crazy today. Like, this is what I'm doing today, and this is genuinely, it does make my mind blow, and obviously I'm very thankful to be in a position where we can kind of do these things and be in a position with this platform that's kind of sprung up over that lockdown period to be able to have these conversations. We are slowly but surely running out of time, and obviously I don't want to keep you for too long. I don't want to stretch your evening out for too far. But kind of just looking towards, like, yourself then, what's the sort of next thing on the way from yourself? Like, where can people find what you're doing, and what's the plan? Talk to me.
I can say that Kenya is different from the UK in a way when it comes to social media, because when you want to go live, you get a Facebook Live in Kenya is much more interactive than a Facebook Live in the UK. I believe in the UK people are much more into maybe YouTube or Twitter or Instagram.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd say about it's an interesting one, because I remember in regards to sort of record label stuff, we used to do live streams every week, and we used to have DJ sets every week, and it was like a big thing, and we were hitting like 10, 15, 20k people every single week locking in. And then Facebook being Facebook, it kind of went click like that, and then suddenly you'd struggle to get 8 people, and it was so bizarre, and it happened to everyone at the same time. I think with that, in the UK it's a lot more down to do kind of like with Instagram Live now seems to be one of the main ways of doing things, and then not necessarily YouTube Live for sort of conversations, but more sort of it's a lot more sort of bloggery content in regards to the YouTube side of things. And I think obviously Clubhouse is an app that's started up over here, which a lot of people are using. I've got a clue how to use it before anyone asks me, but yeah, that's the new thing that's popped up over here recently. That's all I'm hearing people talk about. It looks crazy, but yeah, like what's the sort of way of doing things over there then?
I was thinking of reaching more people through Facebook, because Facebook is the way every big DJ in Kenya is going live on Facebook. A few are going live on Instagram, but due to the situation, it's a third world country and data is a bit expensive. So Facebook is the ideal way to go live. So I was thinking, if I can go live with like a guy like you, and the Kenyan artists can get to understand the sound from the UK, or maybe they can jump in from that sound, and the artists from the UK can get to understand, the sound that's working in Kenya. And maybe you can have an artist from the UK releasing a sound that's targeted to a Kenyan market alone. They target their music. They start targeting their music to target just the way we were doing with radio frequencies, where you have a frequency covering an area, and you can talk to people from that area. That's the big thing that I want to do with Kenyan people. You can have a market in maybe France. When you get to understand the sound of that country.
Of course, man. Of course. I mean, it's all really exciting. I'm so excited to see how everything happens. Now, I've looked into the show a couple of times. Obviously, it's been via the online link. It's been sick to see, and just the general vibe that you bring, man. I mean, everyone who's going to watch this can see there's such a good energy about you as a person and the way you kind of come across. I'm not surprised you're as popular as you are over there, man. Honestly, but yeah, it's been wicked to talk to you, man. Obviously, it's been great to chat, and we'll keep this conversation going. And obviously, people see us interacting online all the time anyway, so it's one of those ones.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, just before we do finish up, what's the best place for people to get hold of you online?
The best place is probably Twitter. I like Twitter because you can put out a lot of tweets, and get reactions, interactions faster than any other platform. Because when it comes to Instagram, you have to have good pictures and stuff like that. Facebook too, it works with pictures. It works well, but when it comes to Twitter, you can just work with words. Your radio personalities, so we're used to words, very many words. So I think Twitter is ideal for me.
Definitely. No, I completely agree. I'm very much on the Twitter train. If I could pick one of them, I'd pick Twitter every single day of the week. It's my favourite by an absolute country mile. Okay then. Well, guys, we are going to finish up here. Thank you for locking in. To everyone who has been locked in at Rapcha, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for taking the time out of your day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much
no worries
for this opportunity. I can get to talk to your fans too. You can get to know me, and my fans can get to know you. It's amazing.
Of course, man. This is the beautiful thing about these kind of link ups. Okay, then,
Yes,
guys, we are going to finish up there. Make sure you also follow myself at KXVU on all social media platforms. Make sure you're following the channel as well, hitting that subscribe button, notifications on. There's so much new content on the way over the next few weeks. Obviously, I'm not back to Trickstar until the end of January. Big refurbs going on, all that good stuff. So just make sure you're sticking to the channel. There's going to be loads of good stuff landing. And of course, you can check out the Breakfast with Kovu podcast. That's available on Apple Music, Spotify, and SoundCloud, as well as the Trickstar radio app. Head over to any of those platforms and search Breakfast with KXVU. You'll be able to find all of the interviews, including this one in audio format. If for some reason you're not keen on looking at both of us, be very, very happy as we talk. But there we go. We're going to finish up there, guys. Thanks for sticking with us, and we shall see you all next time. Peace.